Oh, I'm staring at the camera and this camera's staring me back. Okay, welcome to the veritable edge of Western civilization on Venice Beach, California. Today is the 17th of October, 2014. This is show number 93, 94, show number 94. And it'll be a short show because we got don't have as much battery going on. And most likely next week sometime I'm gonna start moving it earlier to start at 4 o'clock. Just so you know. And I don't these days broadcast on the weekends, so the next show after this will be Monday, show number 95. That's right, I said number 95. And so we're closing up on our 100th show. Yay! That's what I'm talking about. What else is going on? I've been listening to the news all day, all afternoon, which is kind of interesting and kind of not. Hello. Try looking without your sunglasses.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you know, I woke up one day, I said, I want to.
Yeah.
Two. Try looking at it without your sunglasses. I love that. Good thought.
Oh, these are cool back here. Like geometric shapes. I like geometric shapes.
That sort of work is called sacred geometry.
Gotcha. That's really cool. So I don't know what you. Just like. I spent all your money straight. Oh, shots. Dollars.
Hey, so this is how far we've gotten with this baby. Not going to do much more to it. Hello.
Can you tell me about these? Like, what does that mean and stuff?
That's the flower of life. It's the basic energetic structure of the universe. The electromagnetic field of the universe is one of those around every cell, molecule, and subatomic particle in the universe. So it's what you're made of.
Yeah.
Far out.
That's all.
How much do you sell these for?
As much as I can.
As much as you can. Dang.
Yeah.
I mean, I like these.
You're allowed.
Oh shit, that one's awesome.
I know. This one is like.
How
What do
much
you
is
want?
that
What do you
one?
want for that?
It's $30.
All right,
Okay,
I'll buy it.
yeah.
Yay!
Far
I just
out.
made that.
Oh yeah, you made it for me. You
I
made it for me.
know,
Yeah,
right?
you see, it's got a hanger here. There you go. And it's signed right here.
Bang. What's it gonna look like?
Hold on,
Bang.
I don't want it. It's fresh. I
It's
don't-
fresh?
No, it's fine.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
good.
yeah. It's all dry. It dries pretty quick out here, you know. The wind.
I like the type of art you make.
Thank you very much. There's 5. There's,
All right, that's cool.
all right.
The rest.
Thank you very
All
much.
right.
Yep.
Take it easy.
Bless. Smiling? Smiling? Why is he smiling? I'll tell you why he's smiling. Because, you know, the necessity being the mother of invention, right? So, I'll show you. So, for anybody that's been paying any attention to what's been going on in my little universe for the past week or so, last weekend, the cops came and they said that that they're interpreting the new ordinance that they've been putting into place since September 1st in an attempt to get rid of commercial sales on commercial people basically going downtown buying stuff and selling it out here is that you can't, they're saying that you can't sell frames, right? It says in the ordinance you can sell prints of your paintings, you can sell photographs and all that kind of stuff, you can sell paintings, but they're interpreting it and nowhere in there does it say that you can't, right? But I've been taking it as an opportunity to, you know, essentially take it higher. So this is what these are the sorts of frames that I've been doing for the past couple of years. And so basically I paint them, right, with gold paint and whatnot, because I paint a lot of blue and gold and blue looks really good. And so I still have about a dozen of them here in that size and about 3 dozen of them over there in the, you know, this 8.5 by 11, right? So the solution has been to sell them not in frames, right? Which means doing something like this, right? So this is, it starts with a print. This is a print, and it's put on. This is a piece of. It's actually the same. It's from the old broken frames. It's the back that holds the glass and everything in place, right? And I just took off the clips that are on the back there, and so I had a whole stack of those. And for months, I've been just lugging them back and forth every day, you know. And there's a brother that usually sets up here, and he takes apart particle board furniture that he finds in the garbage, and he takes 4x6 little Polaroids, and he puts them onto boards and stuff. And I asked him, like, what kind of materials was he using to mount them on the boards and stuff. And he told me and everything. So all this week I've been trying to get that together and everything. And it's been, every day it's been something. Like, I went and got this adhesive, and I got almost all the way to the beach before I realized that they didn't give me the thing that goes on top of the thing you hit with your finger, right? So I had to go back today to get that. And so anyway, it's a spray mounted. I spray mount the print onto the board, and then cover the print with this water based. It's basically Rust-Oleum, but it's clear. It's called clear coat, and it's water based. Yay! You know. So, and then I take, for the edges, I take black paint and, you know, black acrylic and paint the edges. So it's kind of stylized. So my little happy dance was, I just sold the first one. I've only put together 3 of them so far after going through all that whole process. And and I just this afternoon finally got all the parts, the moving parts together, and I just sold the first one. Yay! So there's hope. And I think the person got a sense, what I got from that sale. She's like, how much you want for that? I said, you know, I said $30. She goes, I'll take it, like, right? And she gave me $40. And I went to give her change. She said, keep the rest. And that, you know, it has a, I think people think it has a higher value because it's an original. They see it as an original. And in some ways it is, because I have to put more work into it and all that. But very interesting seeing how these things flow, you know. But at least it's not, you know, there's some, we have some movement. We have some movement. So, you know, when one door closes, another one opens up. And it's our job to choose to walk through or not, you know. So. Okay, so what was I doing? All right. Bing, bing. So we're almost done with this baby, and there might be enough time to start another one. I have another idea that came in last night. the one thing that I really don't, you know, these things have like cycles, you know. When I first started selling framed work on the boardwalk 14 years ago, I did so with using this spray adhesive called Super 77. And what I did is I would take one of my prints and I would put it on a larger, oh, there's a whole, let's see if we can catch that. See all the unicycle people? It's a posse, unicycle posse. I did so using what I would do is take instead of putting things into a mat, you know, this here. See, this is this white part around here is a mat. So I taken a piece of one of my prints, and it's spray mounted onto a piece of board, and then you put this cutout around it, and you know, it's some matting and everything. I actually used to have these done for me. This is an old batch I haven't sold in years, but last week one of the solutions I was working on is making. Hi there. Like it? Okay, no comment. Hey you. It's doing stuff like this. So this right here is the print, and this is the mat, and I just painted the mat to look like the print. And it's too much freaking work and time and everything. I'd much rather spend actually painting something. And so that was fun. But when I first started, rather than have to do all that, you would just take the print and spray mount it onto a board, you know, like a piece of Bristol, and you know, a thicker piece of cardboard or something, and then stick that in a plastic bag, and that was a big part of my business back then. Oh, I know why, because I would take something like this. This is before 11 by 17 colored prints were available. I would take something like this. This is 8.5 by 11, and you know, I would sell this, but I would also sell this on a 11 by 14 piece of paper, right? Spray mounted, and I could get, you know, $15 to $20 for that, and then, you know, the frame, put it in a frame, and you've got like, you know, I was selling those for $40, $45, you know, so that was then. And then, but the thing I really didn't like about doing that stuff, and one of the reasons why I stopped doing it, was because of that Super 77 stuff. You know, I really hated those days when I would have to like make more of them and use that product. What is that right there? Thank you very much.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I was going for lovely.
Is that all today?
No.
I have no concept, to be honest.
No. It's okay. I've been I do a live stream at 5 o'clock,
Okay.
and I think I started this on Tuesday. So it's only for like, the show is only for about 45 minutes. So it's 4 days of 45-minute painting.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's breathtaking.
Excellent, excellent. I was going for breathtaking.
Yeah. Do you mind if I take a picture?
Yes, I do. As a matter of fact,
Do you mind? Okay.
yes, yeah. But I appreciate the fact that you appreciate it. Yeah. What's your name?
Haley.
That's a perfect name for you.
Oh, someone else said that Tuesday.
Yeah,
My
really.
name matches me.
It does. It does. I'm
What's
sure
your-
that's not the first thing you put in your life, right?
No, it's not.
Yeah.
I think the blonde hair, there's something about maybe being blonde and being Haley. I don't know.
You know Haley Mills, right?
Yeah, that's who I was. My dad liked Haley Mills. So
Yeah, that would be it. Yeah. Crazy.
wow, that's just. So how much would something like that go for?
Probably around 15,000.
No. You're teasing.
It's like 15,000.
No.
Really?
Are you teasing or not teasing?
I'm not teasing.
Really?
Yeah, my originals, one of my originals started 15,000. 15 to 20, depending on the
Oh my gosh.
really depending how complicated it is.
I mean, it's stunning. I just, I don't know.
It's the only one in the universe.
That's true.
Yeah.
I love butterflies and I love eyes, so that's sort of.
But I can make a clay, print on canvas for you, as large as you want it, even larger than this actually. And so that would be, that would probably start around 1,000.
1,000.
This size, as big as the board. So it would just be what you see as the canvas, unless you wanted it, the board as well. You know what I mean? The image that's around the board. Sometimes people like that.
How much are you selling that one for?
That one's 800.
800.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the round part is all drawn freehand.
Oh yeah. Well, do you have anything for like?
Do you have anything that's printed? Do you have it on printed?
Not that one.
No?
Nope.
Do you have other ones?
Of course, all around you.
It's so interesting. I mean, I've like from a Melchizedek and sacred geometrical standpoint, and I've spent years that I've been interested. But this morning, I had a really profound. I'm a yoga teacher, a physical therapist, and a yoga teacher, and I had this. I've been journaling and drawing out design ideas for clothing, like for different ways in which you can kind of upregulate the nervous system through just wrapping and different things to provide. But I was thinking about a yoga mat that's actually in a circle, and I was thinking the flower of life, but actually this one is nice. I have one in
Sure.
this one.
Yeah.
I was thinking
So it's called a vector
if you
equilibrium.
had yoga mat material in a circle, but it has I think that would be really amazing.
Well, it would be a lot.
Because it would just look like a yoga mat that could then, like there's one that I have that's not super thick that one of mine that folds,
Mhm.
So it could just be one that like literally is a circle and then it folds.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. Yeah, you could do the pie shape thing.
Right.
Folds up into a pie shape and stuff. But then you could also just do what you're doing, which is the two mat thing, right?
Yeah.
Which is you're making a square, right?
Yeah.
So this design is the flower of life.
Right. Yep. That's
Right.
what I was thinking when I
That design is in here, and so that the Metatron's cube are all in here, and it's it's called
that's true.
it's called a Vitruvian Man, but it's the squaring of the circle, or the perimeter of the circle in the area of the square.
I don't even know how I would,
Yeah.
certainly think about it. Because I could then instead of shift your like just verbally, because I give so many tactile cues, but verbally I could just say like I could even if it were different colors at different places, like find that purple, like it would just me to be able to help people shift their positioning without having to always be, you know.
Yeah, that's a you would have to work with the person to figure out what it is that you want to teach, and then
where the spots are, and
on the,
kind of like what you're going to be doing. I think that would be pretty.
I think it would be great. It really is a good teaching aid for what it is you're trying to do. And initially, I think the thing to do would be to just use hands.
Oh, actually.
Hands and feet. Because that's what you're doing, right?
It's true. So even like be on a mat myself and really be, you know,
right.
That's cool.
Yeah. And then see what the pattern is. I mean, you know, when I do what I do on the beach, it's the same thing. I know the pattern that when I do what I do on the beach, there is a pattern, a geometric pattern that's created. That is.
Are you speaking of what you do movement-wise? Or are you?
Yeah. I've been standing on my head since '93. So, and I started in the middle of a spiritual acceleration. I was in this and you know, practicing this technique of divine communion, right? And the physical thing was added by the universe as a way of doing it, maintaining that communion while doing something physical, so that you could practice maintaining communion,
you have to
whether you're
find a way to embody it that feels like you're growing and thriving. Because we've done so many things that like push us, you know, into, and it just we're gonna have to come back to that. You know, as humanity, we have to come back to opening back up things.
Yes, sure.
So much of the meticulous stuff that we do is great, and our minds are amazing, and our hands are the way that can transmute. But when we start,
so, are you interested in learning this technique? Okay. So, do you have an iPhone? Okay. Let's start your iPhone. You know, I'm gonna do this on camera because I was actually the universe told me to do this yesterday. So, pull up your clock and your stopwatch. Yeah, you might want to put this stuff down.
I'm like I'm never a shopper. I'm such a I grew up such a tomboy, and I just moved out here from Michigan 3 months ago. Thanks. And I just went on a shopping. I've actually bought a bunch of clothing that's comfortable enough for me to wear. Clients and stuff.
Right. Okay.
I don't usually have this much stuff. So
clock and stopwatch.
World clock and stopwatch. Okay.
Hit the stopwatch. Okay. Now, all meditative states are designed to, or all meditation is designed to bring you into the optimal meditative state, which is a brainwave pattern of between 6 and 8 cycles per second. Right. Now, your breath rate regulates your brainwave pattern. Right. So if you breathe 7 breaths per minute, your brainwave pattern will go to 7 cycles. Right. So we're going to do the first part of this. We're going to get you to breathe 7 breaths per minute.
Okay.
Right. So, but no.
Hold it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get your finger over the start.
Okay.
All right. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to do this specific breath where you're with the inhale. You're going to picture your breath going from your root chakra up your spine to your crown with the inhale, and then down the front of your chakras with your exhale. Okay. Now, as you do this, when you do this, do not pause between the inhale and the exhale, the exhale and the inhale. Okay? Calling it the conscious evolution meditation. Okay? So, when you're ready.
Is there a technique to, am I just practice? Is it just a practice of, I've never tried that before, but it seems to me to be.
You're going to do it right now.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So, what we're doing with this is so that you'll get an idea of what 7 breaths per minute is. Okay? Now, I encourage you, 1, do not rush your breath. Don't pause between the inhale and the exhale, or the exhale and the inhale, right? And take your time. You have more time. You have more time than you think that you do. Okay. So you're going to fill your lungs. Okay? When you're ready, hit the button and go. All right? 7 breaths. Okay, so you know that you can
Go a little fast.
go a little faster, right? But you're still, that's like 6 breaths per minute, right?
I've been doing breathing techniques for a while now.
Right, right. So between 6 and 8, this brings you between 6 and 8 cycles, right? Which is the optimal meditative state. If you go less than that, you go unconscious.
It's so interesting to me because I mean, at this point, I see anywhere between like 4 and 6 clients a day usually, and I'm doing either full body work or on the mat and body work while it's on the mat. But I'm in, you know, at least that many hours a day. I'm pretty much in that place, and then
Right.
you know, be in my own practice, and then just when if I'm cooking, you know, when I'm by myself and things like that. But it's so distinctly different when I, you know, in my car I'm great because I have music and I'm, you know, very meditative space for me. But it's so, you can tell so much when I shift, you know, when I transition into different places, and then all of a sudden I come back to it, and you, oh my gosh, it's like you feel all of these different places that have been, you know, holding and gripping so much. It's
Okay,
just,
so the rest of it, okay, there's the breath technique, and then you know about the closing your eyes and pointing your eyes towards your third eye.
no, I've only in yoga often you're sort of gently gazing at the nose in
Okay.
several
No,
postures,
this
but
is
this is like a,
You close your eyes and you're focusing on the third eye,
wow,
right?
I've never done that before.
Okay, so the next time that you do it, you're going to do that, and then the kind of the pièce de résistance, the most important aspect of this, is listening to the divine vibration, recognizing it for what it is, right? And you know, the ever-present sound, high-pitched trumpet sound, there's no sound, right? And then allowing it, invoking, inviting, and welcoming it into touching every scintilla of your being, every cell, molecule, and subatomic particle, recognizing it as infinite consciousness. Right?
I mean, it's true though. I mean, the mental, the recognition and the knowing. I mean, the recognition that leads to, you know, the knowing where it doesn't. It's true. It's true.
Yeah. Okay. So that combination, all what is that, 3 or 4 things I just shared with you, is the conscious evolution meditation that the universe shared with me when I was going through my spiritual acceleration back in 93, 94, where I was in the state of bliss 24 hours a day for another 3 months. No matter where I was, whether I was in the desert or in the city or, you know, the mountains. Or,
Jeez.
yeah.
Did you grow up in California?
No, Cape Cod. But the reason why I'm calling it the conscious evolution meditation is because the more you do it, or when you do it, you're essentially choosing to consciously evolve, and it's irrevocable. It's like, even if you only did it once in your life, for that moment you chose to consciously evolve, and thus you've affected the cosmos, and every life that your life touches is affected by that choice. So imagine if you're doing
all
that
sorts
every
of
day.
serendipitous things start just
Yeah.
like flushing in.
Exactly. And one of the things that happens, you may discover, I mean, you probably know because you do a lot of pranayamas, is that when you vary the oxygen-CO2 ratio, it stimulates the pineal, pituitary, what are called the crystal palace series of glands in the center of the brain, and to increase their secretions in your conscious waking state. So one of those is serotonin. You know, the other one is melatonin that your pineal gland secretes, and then the endorphins that are secreted by the pituitary gland, you know, tell you that this feels great,
Yeah.
you know. But you know, the melatonin repairs all your cells, and the serotonin is one of the side effects of increased serotonin levels in your conscious waking state. Is you actually can see the connectedness of everything.
That is interesting that you say that, because there's a woman in her 70s she's a really dear friend of mine who's clairvoyant, and she was in the Peace Corps for a long time, lived in the Bay Area most of her life, but I met her in Michigan, and the things that she is able to describe to me that she sees, I do not, I've always told her, like, I'm incredibly intuitive, but I do not have that, nothing comes up for me visually, like whatever, I can be in that place where, and I've seen some color a little bit, but I'm wondering if there will be, you know, a time where I'll start You know,
It sounds like you're calling it in.
I want to be able to draw upon any and every different means of.
Well, once again, it's your intention, right? And
I just wonder sometimes, though, like from even just a soul's evolution standpoint, the different levels of growth or of expansion, you know, that certain ones, like for someone like she says that she feels that me as a human being, like in this third dimension, I'm very young, like I haven't had many lives here, sort of one of her perceptions of me. And so I'm always just so curious about that kind of thing, like as a soul evolves, the different things that it learns to do and cultivate, and then, you know, as it sort of, I don't know, grows and thrives and becomes more and more consciously, because there are like skills that you learn, you know, tangible skills that you learn as you go along, but then there are also the things that feel like are sort of inherent that don't have to be learned within the people, it seems. And so I just, not that, I mean, there's nothing obviously that we don't have access to, but I just feel like the ease with which and that someone can, you know, be called into, you know.
That's nice.
Thank you.
Flower of life?
Yeah.
You just taught him that,
Good point.
right?
Good.
You're so, yeah. On point. You guys are great.
That's beautiful.
The flower of life you see.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I've been at it a while,
Yeah, I bet.
since '95. So.
Yeah, actually, what I said was someone finally got it right. Because, like, you know, I've seen so much art of him, but I've never seen this. I've seen this.
So I guess sort of like you can set an intention of something that you desire, but when you attach to it, as it becomes more and more focused and specific, if it's not necessarily something that's, you know, say inherently going to come with some level of ease for you, you know, if you don't back your focus up away from that in a way, it seems that it eludes you, you know, instead of, you know, does that make sense?
Oh, totally.
Like,
I totally get what you're saying.
so it just, you know, for someone like her, maybe she came here in a
Right,
way that
right.
that was just so readily available to her.
Yeah.
Whereas someone like me, if I'm, you know, setting my, like,
Right,
you know,
but there's an
intention
agreement
for
that you made to meet, right? And, you know, she's an inspiration for you. And there's no, that's not a
It's just
slight
feels
thing.
like such a funny balance all the time.
It's
with
a
focus,
it's an
so
agreement.
intent.
It's an agreement, and the agreement is to me. It looks like your agreement was to, you know, she would remind you to remember.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of the capacity.
Exactly, and to make that more of a focus in your walk this time. Okay. It seems like so much of this existence is about remembering and forgetting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's like an inherent a component of the earth walk is forgetfulness and you know, trying to reach through that forgetfulness to, you know, to create these bonds between our fuller selves, our cosmic selves, and this.
And pull it down, you know, like,
Yeah.
and ground it down in a way where it's
Right.
actually not so, you know, like.
Out of reach. Yeah. You know, I've been working on astral projecting for the past 8 months or so. You know, so
Amazing. I've toyed, but like.
I'm
very
totally
negligibly,
toying. You know, I have yet to be able to do it with lucidity. You know, but I know that I've been doing it my whole life. You know, and everybody does. But you know, it's every day for the past 8 months has been with that focus. You know, is to remember how to do this. You know.
And just because you're curious, right? I mean,
No, it's not just because I'm curious. No,
right?
because it feels like it's my destiny.
Okay.
You know, it feels like, honestly, it feels like like when you're 2 years, you know, when you first learn how to walk, right? We just take it as a given that a child should learn how to walk, right? Well, when you reach a certain level of spiritual maturity, it's like you should know how to astral project.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what
I mean, so funny. Do you follow
otherwise,
astrology much?
I'm an astrologer.
Are you?
Yeah.
Do you know Tom Lesher?
No.
Oh God, you've got to get on board. This man, his name is, he goes by Kaipacha, or Tom Lesher. Kaipacha, that doesn't ring a bell at all. He lives down in Costa Rica. He has a website called New Paradigm Astrology, and he does at least the free ones are the weekly, they're called Pele reports. I've been listening to him for years. He's one of the funniest, most he's probably in his 50s. So wise and hilarious and deep and present, and just, I feel like if you don't know of him and have any desire, are you online at all? Like in the, yeah, you go. I guess I just meant like, even, do you surf and look at it? Well, sometimes people, I feel like, just really retreat from it if they don't, they may do some work on it, but they don't really. But you should look into that.
What's his name again?
Tom Lesher, Kaipacha. They're just, I look forward to them every week, and I'm pretty discriminate at this point about just what I spend my time on. And the reports are from somewhere very lovely.
Excellent.
Yeah, he's
good. I'll take a look.
good. So yeah,
Thanks for the
it's
heads
been
up.
such a pleasure. What did you say? Did you tell me your name?
My name is David Alexander English, and you are
David.
Haley.
I'm Haley. I don't have my glasses on.
Okay.
Sometimes I have sunglasses on.
Yeah, really. Yes. You can't have that perturbance. No, there'll be no
This has been
perturbance.
wonderful. Your work is just stellar.
Yeah. One of the things, I had a lucid dream maybe 3 weeks ago. And in the dream, I saw how sacred geometry projects into the 3D. So if you have a 2D representation of sacred geometry, that's involved with the 3D. And because it's sacred geometry, it's the perfection of the universe, right? It's the basic structure of the universe. So there's the energy around it. Everything becomes entrained to it. All the stuff that's out of harmony, let's say.
What do you mean by entrained?
Entrained in that it's like when you have ever see those things where you have like clocks, metronomes going. You have like a whole slew of metronomes, and they all synchronize.
So that's what
it's entrainment, exactly, because there are these points of harmony in rhythm and vibration that are universally yummy, right? And things tend to want to be in those places, but then there's the places in between them. Those interface places are, what makes the world so variant, right? And where things are moving from one state of harmony to another. And sometimes they take a little longer than we would like, and so sacred geometry, like the Flower of Life, for instance, it is the base code of the universe, right? So that tone that it resonates at reminds it has I want to say a vortexual quality to it, in that it brings things back to their perfection.
It's like a defragmentation, the way we do it.
Exactly.
I try to describe that for people often.
Yeah. The person I learned astrology from passed away last March, and when I was in hospice with him a year ago, so he was taking this Phoenix.
I'm just getting cold, so I'm switching out.
Yeah. Taking this thing. What do you call it? This called Phoenix Tears. It's
Okay.
a cannabis oil, right? And one day he asked me to take it with him. And I was told that it was denatured, you know, like you couldn't get high from it.
Just the psychotropic effect.
Yeah, yeah. And whoever told them that was crazy. He didn't know because he'd never been high. He'd never gotten high in his life, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And before this, oh, that's cool.
I told you, it's like I had to splurge a little bit, but I needed some clothes for work that are going to be,
Yeah, that's a good
you know,
one.
yeah.
That's looking good.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you.
But anyway, I did it with him, and 20 minutes later, I realized that I was getting high because I was back in the 90s. So I was what it felt like and all that sort of stuff. You know?
Still.
What's that?
I do, still.
Okay. So what ended up happening is about an hour into the experience, I realized I was in the middle of a shamanic trance, and I started to see. They were on the wall. There was a bulletin board, a particle board, bulletin board that you could push pin little messages on, right? And there was a pattern, like a crosshatch pattern on that, made of elastic bands, right? And that pattern, it's in sacred geometry as well, right? It projected throughout the room. So it literally filled the whole room with that pattern, right? And I knew that it was only because that pattern was, it's in that geometry. It could have been any sacred geometry, and it would have done the same thing, And so then I saw it again 3 weeks ago or so when I had that lucid dream. That I saw how everything was made out of sacred geometry, and I literally saw two-dimensional drawings of sacred geometry projecting into these massive three-dimensional forms.
Whenever I have things like that happen through meditation, my brother and I were talking the other day. He would be just he lives in Chicago, but he's going to be moving out here next year. But we always talk about how there's that stop. There's that place where then like I'll be in meditation and I'm like starting to conceptualize, and then just like, and then I'm like quiet. You know what I mean? Like then it just. And sometimes I'm frustrated by that stop, like by that. It's very peaceful, but it's like I was so interested in what my mind was, what was being revealed to my mind, and then it's like it reached a point where it couldn't conceptualize anymore, and it just does that.
Sure. I think that whatever you were. Whatever it was going to, the actual concepts and everything like that. I know from my spiritual acceleration that they're all connected. If they're absolute truth, they're all connected.
So
and and one of the ways to access that information is to share it with somebody.
Really?
When you start sharing it, you start to see that there's stuff that you didn't know that you knew about.
As soon as you start teaching, you
Right.
realize all these ways that you're learning as you're
Exactly. Teaching is a very selfish thing, isn't it?
It is so selfish. That's what I say to my clients. They're always so like, some of them will get weepy after any, and I'm always like, there was nothing I would rather do than this. Like this
Right.
allows me to. You don't
Right.
even know what this allows me to do during my day.
That's what I usually say to people is the tool lives to be used. I'm thanking you
Yeah.
for the opportunity to like learn more than I would if it was just me standing here. It's like that. So anyway, I'm gonna close this out.
Yeah, do it.
Oh, we got 2%. It was a great show today, I have to say. And so, wait a minute. Here we go. Remember, we love you.